short speaker and promise to be brief. My friend Ben Marchi is the State Director of Americans for Prosperity. He's been crisscrossing the state like a madman for the last year on a bus. He hands off my health care spending, taking it all across the state. He had 70-something stops on that bus, or whatever the number is. So I want to introduce you to my friend Ben Marchi.
Good afternoon. Come on, let's try that again. Good afternoon. I know we've been sitting in this room for a little while, and it's a little warm in here. And the last thing I heard was we're going to get more snow. That was a great presentation, and with Americans for Prosperity, what the good doctor talked about, and what you've heard. With ClimateGate and the exposing of the left-wing agenda here recently, we know what they're trying to do, but it takes folks standing up to stop them and to challenge them, and that's what you guys are doing by being here today. And I just want to ask, Jamie, you still here today?
Yeah.
Jamie made mention of this earlier, but I just want to ask, raise your hand, don't be embarrassed, but if you just gotten involved in this movement in the last year or so, raise your hand. That's incredible. That's fantastic. And that's why we're going to win, is because of all these new people who are here and you. Jamie's been doing this for 15 years. I started doing this when I was 12 years old. I was looking envelopes for then Delegate George Allen, who was my home delegate. I grew up in Albemarle County. And back in those days, and Pat, I know knows this as well. The reason grassroots, the folks that were around back then, like Pat and Jamie and others, understand grassroots, is because, frankly, we didn't have any money back then. All the money, the Democrats, the Democrats and the Liberals ran the General Assembly, and we had to make do with other resources, and those resources were our own 2 feet and our hand to knock on doors and get out the message the old-fashioned way, drop literature in parking lots, and visit community centers and talk it up, talk with your neighbors and talk with your friends, and go to church and do the same thing. That's how we made a difference back then. That's how we're making a difference today, and we're going to continue. That's why we're going to win, because the other side, they don't know how to do it. You see this Virginia organizing project, have you guys heard of that? Yeah. This is supposed to be the extension of President Obama's campaign. How are they doing? They're not filling up rooms like this. They had a rally. That's right. They had a rally at the Capitol the other day about health care. Universal health care for everyone. Sounds great, right? I mean, sounds good. You know, everybody wants health care. Who doesn't? But you got to pay for it. In this, what a novel concept. You want health care, you pay for it. And that's something we've gotten away from. And Jamie did a great job making the point earlier that this isn't a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. I'd even say it goes beyond liberal and conservative. This is a fight between those who believe in the doctrine of self-reliance and those who believe in entitlement. You know, when I was growing up, and I know y'all probably feel the same way, I was taught to feel ashamed for taking something I hadn't earned. Where's that spirit gone? You know, I know they don't teach it in schools anymore because I went through public schools and it wasn't to be seen. We have to get that message out. And that's what we've been doing at Americans for Prosperity. I've been blessed to have been given my dream job 2 years ago. Because for years and years I volunteered. And back in '93, it was for then running for Governor George Allen. In '94, Great American Patriot Oliver North, which was probably the best I've ever seen grassroots at its peak in Virginia until now. Is that fair, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And that 15 years ago. The time is now to let the folks know at the federal level and at the state level. And we've heard now about a lot of federal issues. Now, I want to put a bug in your ear. about something that's gone unnoticed. And is Lee still here?
No.
Did he leave? Okay. Many of you got the book that was passed out earlier, our budget recommendations. At the state level, they're getting ready to give away the store. Isn't that right, Bob?
Well, the front door and the back door.
The front door and the back. Yeah.
The windows
and they are. And they're not, a lot of folks down there still don't want to make the tough decisions about permanently cutting the size of government. They don't want to do it. Republicans, Democrats, Republicans down there are just as bad as Democrats on some of this stuff. And folks that we would expect to be our friends are turning their backs on us. It just happened yesterday with this gas tax increase. 8 or 9 Republicans joined with Democrats to jack up our taxes in these uncertain economic times. Now, we expect that sometimes from these guys because they're the usual suspects and, they've done it time and time again. But in times like this, it's political suicide. We hope, and your state senator right here, John Watkins, who I think is a fine fellow, but made a horrible decision by voting for that tax increase yesterday, has to be challenged. Who's going to do it? Are you guys going to do it?
Yeah.
You have to. If that means challenging him next time he runs, maybe someone in this room does it. Or letting them know, giving them a call. We have to. We're going to, over the next week, with this budget, with this model budget, that liberals can no longer say we haven't proposed solutions. Because what do they always say? Oh, well, you guys just always say no. What's your solution? Well, we've done it. We've delivered 140 pages, department by department, agency by agency. Look at the last 8 to 10 years of spending trends in Virginia. It's never been done. Believe it or not, the group that should do these things for the General Assembly, JLARC, has never done something like this. And it just blew our mind that it had never been done, so we felt it was time to invest and shine the light of transparency on where the trends in government had been. And that's why we proposed things like eliminating funding for the Commission on the Arts. Just don't think that's a core function of government. They want to save money. How about moving the Virginia Lottery from that expensive office space downtown to Martinsville or the Eastern Shore and providing jobs where they're needed more than ever? Those are just a few ideas. And Bob, maybe you can answer this question for me. I still can't figure out why, if you're a senator, you get $30 more for a per diem than the folks in the House do. Is it more expensive to be a senator, Bob?
Well, it's more pretentious to be a senator. No, I mean, the House and Senate separately set what the per diem is based on the allowance from the IRS. So we set ours lower and they set theirs higher.
Yeah. And maybe that's part of the problem, is that these guys need to understand that while Virginians have been losing jobs by the tens of thousands in the private sector, state government jobs have grown by over 10,000 in the last few years. Now we feel that some of those jobs, that the private sector, the bureaucrats ought to share what the private sector has felt for the last few years. If we're cutting back in our own homes, shouldn't the state government do it as well?
Yes.
That's why we need you to contact Senator Watkins. And I'll tell you, before yesterday, I thought we weren't going to have to watch the Republican senators. I thought everybody was on the same page. I thought they heard, I was naive. I thought they heard the message in that shot sent around the world last November. Apparently not. Apparently not. And that's why we had planned next week to go and hold town halls all across Virginia. We're coming to Prince William County next week to visit Chuck Colgan's district. We're going to be in Fredericksburg to see Ed Houck and other